People of God, listen to me. I don't know what you are going through, but I am here to tell you one thing that will change everything about your situation. Keep trusting God. He will make a way. No matter what the doctors have said, no matter what your friends have told you, no matter how dark the road looks, God will make a way. Tell your neighbor, God will make a way. Say it again, louder. God will make a way. You may not see the road now. You may not see the open door. You may not see the light at the end of the tunnel. But God, the same God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the same God that divided the Red Sea, the same God that turned water into wine, He is still alive, and He will make a way for you. Many of us want to trust God only when things are working, only when we can see evidence, only when everything looks good. But that is not trust, that is sight. Faith begins where understanding ends. Trusting God is believing when there is no evidence, hoping when there is no reason to hope, standing when everything in you says, sit down. When you are walking with God, He will take you through situations that don't make sense. He will allow storms that test your patience, sickness that challenges your faith, people that betray you, and situations that humble you. But those are not the end of you. They are the making of you. Child of God, when God is silent, He is not absent. His silence does not mean He has left you. His silence is a language only faith can understand. Faith says, even though I don't see it, I believe. Faith says, even though I don't feel it, I trust. Faith says, even though I don't understand it, I still hold on. There was a man named Job. He lost everything. His children died, his wealth vanished, his health failed, his friends accused him. Yet, Job said, though he slay me, yet will I trust him. That is the kind of trust God is looking for. Trust that does not depend on conditions. Trust that does not depend on results. Trust that says, even if I lose everything, I will not lose my faith. Look at your life. How many times have you cried thinking God forgot you? How many nights have you prayed and heard nothing, but now look back? Didn't He come through? Didn't He make a way? Didn't He turn what the enemy meant for evil into good? You may not know how, you may not know when, but He did it. The same God that brought you through before will do it again. When you are trusting God, the devil will whisper, where is your God? He will point to your empty bank account, your sick body, your broken heart. But listen, the presence of trouble does not mean the absence of God. Sometimes, the evidence of trouble is proof that you are close to your breakthrough. When the battle is hottest, the victory is nearest. Child of God, delay is not denial. God's time is the best. We are always in a hurry. We want things now immediately, but God's plan is not our plan. He is not preparing your blessing. He is preparing you for your blessing. Sometimes what you are calling delay is God's way of protecting you from something that would destroy you if it came too soon. When the Israelites were at the Red Sea, they could see no way forward. The sea was before them, Pharaoh's army behind them, mountains beside them, no way out. But Moses stood still and said, "Fear not, stand firm and see the salvation of the Lord." And suddenly the sea opened. That is how God works. He waits until every human possibility is exhausted, and then he shows that he alone is God. Maybe you are at your Red Sea right now. You have prayed, fasted, believed, yet nothing seems to move. Keep trusting him. God's delay is not his denial. When it is his time, you will not need to struggle. The sea will part. He will make a way where there seems to be no way. When you look around, you may see no hope. But when you look up, you will see God. When you look around, you see confusion. But when you look up, you see direction. The reason many people give up is because they are looking around instead of looking up. Your help will not come from your job, your family, your connections, or your skills. Your help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. Tell your neighbor, stop worrying. Worrying is interest paid on a problem before it is due. You cannot add a single day to your life by worrying. The same God who provided for you yesterday will provide again. The same God who healed you before will heal you again. The same God who saved you before will save you again. When you are trusting God, learn to thank him in advance. Don't wait for the miracle to happen before you praise him. Thank him before you see the result. Faith thanks God before the answer. If you thank God only after the breakthrough, that is gratitude. But when you thank him before the breakthrough, that is faith. Some of you are sitting here today saying, "Man of God, I have been praying, I have been believing, and nothing is changing." My brother, my sister, listen, when you don't see anything changing, God is changing you. Before he changes your situation, he will change your heart. Before he opens the door, he will strengthen your patience. Before he gives you the blessing, he will build your character. Trusting God is not only believing for a miracle, it is believing in his wisdom. God may not give you what you want, but he will always give you what you need. He may close one door, but that is because he has a better one. Sometimes what you are crying over today is what you will thank God for tomorrow. God's way is not our way. He can use rejection to position you for direction. He can use pain to produce purpose. He can use disappointment to prepare your destiny. What you call failure is often the seed of your future success. What you call delay is the womb of your destiny. Look at Joseph. His brothers betrayed him. He was thrown into a pit, sold into slavery, falsely accused, and imprisoned. But through it all, Joseph kept trusting God. And in the end, what happened? The same brothers who sold him had to bow before him. The same pit that was meant for his death became the pathway to his destiny. God turned it around. You may be in the pit now. You may be in the prison now. But if you keep trusting God, you are on your way to the palace. The problem is not your situation. The problem is your perception. When you see everything through the eyes of fear, you will quit. But when you see it through the eyes of faith, you will keep going. Child of God, sometimes God hides his face to see who will still seek him. Sometimes he closes the door to see who will still knock. Sometimes he delays the answer to see who will still believe. God does not test you to destroy you. He tests you to reveal you, to show what is truly inside you. When you trust God completely, you stop asking why and start saying thank you. You stop complaining and start praising. You stop worrying and start worshiping. You realize that no matter what happens, it will end in your favor. Listen to me, faith is not pretending that everything is fine. Faith is saying, even though it's not fine, I know God is in control. Faith does not deny reality. It faces reality with the assurance of God's power. You may be weak, but God is strong. You may be tired, but God is able. You may be confused, but God is not surprised. You may not understand the route, but you can trust the driver. If God is driving your life, He knows every corner, every storm, every valley, every detour. You may not understand where He is taking you, but He knows. And when you arrive, you will say, if I had known this was what He was doing, I would never have cried. That is why we must learn to surrender. Trusting God is not partial obedience. It is total surrender, saying, Lord, not my will, but yours be done. When you surrender, you stop fighting for control and start resting in His promise. Look at Abraham. God told him to sacrifice Isaac, the son he waited for. It made no sense, yet Abraham obeyed. And at the last moment, God provided a ram. God didn't want Isaac. He wanted Abraham's trust. And when Abraham proved his trust, the blessing multiplied. When you trust God, you may look foolish to others. People may laugh at you. They may say you are wasting time. But faith that cannot be tested cannot be trusted. God allows people to mock you so that when He lifts you, the testimony will be complete. You may have lost your job. Keep trusting Him. You may have been betrayed. Keep trusting Him. You may be sick. Keep trusting Him. You may not understand what is happening. Keep trusting Him. The same God who made a way for Daniel in the lion's den will make a way for you. The same God who made a way for Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the fire will make a way for you. The same God who made a way for David before Goliath will make a way for you. Sometimes, when you are trusting God, the situation will get worse before it gets better. When Moses went to Pharaoh, the oppression of the Israelites increased. But that was not a sign of failure. It was a sign that deliverance was near. The night is darkest just before dawn. So don't quit before your miracle. Many people give up when they are closest to the breakthrough. Don't stop praying now. Don't stop believing now. Don't stop praising now. Your miracle is in motion. The seed you sowed in tears will produce a harvest of joy. Let me tell you something. The devil cannot stop a man who keeps trusting God. He can attack your health, but he cannot touch your faith. He can delay your blessing, but he cannot deny your destiny. The only thing that can stop you is your doubt. Trust is not built in comfort. It is built in crisis. Every storm you face is an invitation to trust God more. When you lose something valuable, trust Him. When you are rejected, trust Him. When you don't understand, trust Him. Because at the end of every test, there is a testimony. At the end of every battle, there is a breakthrough. At the end of every pain, there is a purpose. If you keep trusting God, the same people who mocked you will one day come to celebrate you. The same situation that caused you pain will one day produce your promotion. The same tears you cried in secret will one day become songs of victory. So lift your hands and say, Lord, I trust you. Say it again, Lord, I trust you. Say it until your fear bows to faith. Say it until your doubt melts into confidence. Say it until your heart becomes still. Because He is faithful. He is able. He is constant. He is unchanging. He has never failed, and He will never fail. What He did before, He will do again. What He promised, He will perform. What He began, He will finish. Keep trusting God. He will make a way. When it seems impossible, He will make a way. When it looks hopeless, He will make a way. When you are down to nothing, God is up to something. You are not forgotten. You are not forsaken. You are not abandoned. You are in the waiting room of God, and soon your name will be called. Hold on a little longer. Pray a little stronger. Believe a little deeper. God's plan for you is still in motion. The road may be rough, but the destination is glorious. The process may be painful, but the promise is sure. The journey may be long, but the joy will be worth it. Keep trusting God. He will make a way. The same God who made a way before will do it again. Tell your neighbor that. Say it as if you believe it. The same God who made a way before will do it again. Many of you are standing here today, not because you were strong, not because you were wise, not because you had connections, but because God made a way. He fought battles you never saw. He removed people who would have destroyed you. He carried you when you could not walk. He opened doors you did not knock on. He is the same God, and He has not changed. When we say God will do it again, we are not talking about human repetition. We are talking about divine consistency. God is consistent with his character, not with your circumstance. Your situation may change, but his nature does not. He is the same yesterday, today, and forever. What he did in the past, he will do in the present and in the future. You may have forgotten how many times he rescued you, but he has not forgotten how faithful he has been to you. Look back over your life and remember. Remember when you thought it was over, but somehow you came through. Remember when you cried yourself to sleep, but joy still found you in the morning. Remember when you lost everything, but somehow you survived. The same God who made a way then will make a way now. If he healed you before, he will heal you again. If he provided before, he will provide again. If he restored you before, he will restore you again. God's track record is perfect. He has never failed anyone who truly trusted him. Sometimes we forget the history of his faithfulness because we are blinded by the pain of the present. But the God who brought you out of the last storm is still sitting on the throne. The reason you are still breathing is because his mercy did not fail. The reason you are still standing is because his grace held you up. The same God who saw you through the fire will not leave you in the flood. There are seasons when you cannot feel his presence, when prayers seem unanswered, when doors remain closed. That is the moment you must remind your soul of what he has already done. The testimony of the past is the fuel for faith in the present. When you remember his faithfulness, fear loses its grip. When you remember his power, doubt disappears. When you remember his mercy, hope rises again. The Israelites forgot. They saw the Red Sea open, manna fall from heaven, water flow from the rock, yet they doubted again and again. That is the danger of forgetfulness. It blinds you to the consistency of God. Child of God, never forget how far you have come. You were not supposed to make it this far, but you did. You were not supposed to survive that accident, that sickness, that heartbreak, but you did. That is not luck. That is the hand of God. If he did it before, he will do it again. Some of you are facing mountains that look immovable. The bills are piling up. The report is negative. The door is locked. The friends have left. You have tried everything and nothing is changing. Listen, this is not the first time God's children have faced impossible situations. He specializes in impossibility. The same God who fed Elijah in the wilderness, who protected Daniel in the lion's den, who gave Sarah a child in her old age, who raised Lazarus from the dead, is the same God you serve today. He has not lost his power. God is not limited by time, by age, by economy, by people, or by your mistakes. His mercy is new every morning. His hand is not short that it cannot save. His ear is not heavy that it cannot hear. What he did for one, he can do for another because he is no respecter of persons. What he requires is faith. Not faith in faith, but faith in him. Faith that says, Lord, I remember what you have done, and I believe you will do it again. Sometimes God allows the situation to look worse before it gets better. It is not to destroy you, but to show his glory. Before he brought Lazarus out of the tomb, he allowed him to die. Before he delivered Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, he allowed them to enter the fire. Before he parted the Red Sea, he allowed the Israelites to be trapped. Why? Because when the situation becomes humanly impossible, the miracle becomes divinely undeniable. So, when you are facing your worst moment, don't panic. Remember who was with you before. Remember who fought for you before. Remember who opened that door before. If he did it once, he will do it again. God does not change his nature because your environment changes. He does not need the economy to favor you before blessing you. He does not need people to like you before promoting you. He does not need evidence to perform his word. He is God all by himself. Many of us want to understand God before trusting him, but you cannot understand the one who spoke the universe into being. Trust does not require explanation. It requires remembrance. The more you remember his faithfulness, the easier it becomes to trust him again. When fear whispers, this is different, your faith must shout. But my God is the same. When the disciples were in the storm, they forgot that Jesus was in the boat. They forgot the miracles they had already seen. Fear blinded them to his presence. And Jesus said, "Why are you afraid, O you of little faith?" Fear always makes you forget. Faith always makes you remember. When you remember the last storm he calmed, you will not fear the new one. The devil loves to remind you of what you lost, but God reminds you of what you still have. You still have life. You still have purpose. You still have his promise. And as long as there is breath in your body, God is not done with you. The same hand that lifted you before will lift you again. Do not measure God's faithfulness by your feelings. Your feelings change, but his word stands forever. You may feel forgotten, but you are engraved on the palm of his hand. You may feel alone, but he said, "I will never leave you nor forsake you." The same God who stood by you in your last battle has already prepared victory for your next one. Sometimes we lose faith because we compare ourselves to others. You look at someone who seems ahead of you, more blessed, more successful, and you think God forgot you. But remember, the same God who gave them their testimony is preparing yours. He does not run out of blessings. Your time is coming. When it arrives, it will fit you perfectly. When you look at David, you see the pattern of a God who repeats his wonders. David faced the lion. God gave him victory. David faced the bear. God gave him victory. So when David faced Goliath, he said, "The same God who delivered me from the paw of the lion and the bear will deliver me from this Philistine." That is remembrance in action. He did not rely on new evidence. He relied on old faith. The same God who helped you overcome yesterday's challenges will help you defeat today's giants. If you are praying for a miracle, remember the ones he has already done. If you are waiting for healing, remember the pain he already removed. If you are trusting for provision, remember the times you lacked and still ate. If you are waiting for direction, remember how he guided you when you were lost before. That memory will strengthen your faith, because the same God who made a way then is not retired. He is still in the business of miracles. When you walk with God, history repeats itself, not in problems, but in victories. He brought Noah through the flood, Joseph through the pit, Moses through the desert, Joshua through the battle, Daniel through the den, Esther through the threat, and Jesus through the grave. Every time the enemy said, "It's over," God said, "Watch this." He will do it again in your life. There is no situation too old for a new miracle. There is no failure too deep for new mercy. There is no wound too painful for new healing. The same God who made a way before still walks through the fire with his children. You may not feel the way, but the way is being made. You may not see the path, but the path is forming beneath your feet. Trusting that he will do it again means refusing to accept defeat as final. It means waking up every day saying, "Lord, I still believe." It means facing bad news with good faith. It means declaring, "I know my Redeemer lives." When you speak faith, heaven listens. When you act on faith, heaven responds. When you hold on, heaven moves. Sometimes God will use the same weapon that defeated you before to give you victory now. The same mouth that spoke against you will announce your promotion. The same place where you fell will become the platform for your testimony. The same sickness that almost destroyed you will become your story of healing. Because when God repeats his wonders, he turns pain into purpose. Never think you are forgotten. God does not forget his children. A mother may forget her child, but God cannot forget you. Your name is written in his plan. Your tears are recorded in his book. Your prayers are stored in his presence. Every seed you sowed, every fast you kept, every prayer you whispered, they are not wasted. The harvest may be delayed, but it will come. He will do it again, not because you are perfect, but because he is merciful. Not because you are strong, but because he is faithful. Not because you deserve it, but because he promised it. His covenant cannot fail. His word cannot return void. When he says he will make a way, the sea must obey. When he says healing is yours, sickness must bow. When he says peace is yours, storms must cease. If you have ever seen God move once in your life, you have proof that he can do it again. And if he has never done it for you yet, look around. The testimonies of others are evidence that he is still working. If he did it for them, he can do it for you. The difference is timing, not ability. God's past miracles are not stories. They are promises of repetition. What he began in Genesis, he continued in Exodus, fulfilled in the Gospels, and still performs today. He does not retire from being God. His miracles do not expire. His compassion does not diminish. His hand does not grow weary. When you remember that, fear loses its authority. When you remember that, depression breaks. When you remember that, confusion disappears. You begin to walk with confidence, not in yourself, but in his track record. The same God who kept you yesterday will carry you tomorrow. The same hand that wiped your tears before will hold you again. The same Spirit that comforted you before will strengthen you again. People may change, seasons may change, the economy may change, governments may change, but God remains the same. His promises are yes and amen. If he said it, he will do it. He is not a man that he should lie, nor the Son of Man that he should repent. When he speaks, creation adjusts itself to make his word come true. So when the storm comes again, don't fear. When the pain returns, don't panic. When the situation repeats itself, remember, God also repeats himself. He repeats mercy. He repeats deliverance. He repeats provision. He repeats healing. What he did before, he will do again. Lift your heart and remember, every breath you take is proof that God still works wonders. Every step you make is evidence that grace carried you. Every victory you celebrate is a reminder that the same God is still on your side. He did not bring you this far to leave you. He did not teach you to swim to let you drown. He did not anoint you to abandon you. The same God who made a way before will do it again. The night is darkest just before your dawn. That is what the Spirit of God is saying to you right now. You may be walking through a season that looks like endless night. You may be surrounded by silence, pain, confusion, or disappointment. But hear me, the darker it becomes, the closer you are to your breakthrough. Darkness does not mean defeat. It means destiny is approaching. When everything around you looks hopeless, heaven is still working. When you cannot see the sun, it does not mean it has disappeared. It is only hidden for a moment. Every believer who walked with God faced a night season. Abraham waited in the darkness of barrenness. Joseph sat in the darkness of a prison. David hid in the darkness of a cave. Job lay in the darkness of sickness. Jesus himself prayed in the darkness of Gethsemane. Yet every one of them saw the light of morning. Their night did not destroy them. It revealed them. The night season is not the evidence that God has left you. It is the evidence that God is preparing you. You cannot see the beauty of the stars until the sun goes down. You cannot see the glory of fire until the night comes. That is why sometimes God allows darkness, because there are certain things you can only learn in the night. In the day of comfort, you may forget to pray. In the night of affliction, your prayer becomes real. In the day of plenty, you may forget gratitude. In the night of need, your dependence becomes genuine. The night season is God's classroom where faith graduates. Some of you are wondering why your prayers seem unanswered, why your dreams are delayed, why your strength is tested. Listen carefully. God does not waste pain. The night is not punishment, it is preparation. When the farmer plants the seed, he covers it in darkness. It looks buried, but it is only planted. Burial and planting look the same to the eye, but one ends in death. The other ends in life. You are not buried, you are planted. That dark season is the soil where your next testimony is growing. When Joseph was thrown into the pit, it was night for him. When he was sold into slavery, it was darker. When he was accused and imprisoned, it was the darkest of all. But just before morning, God moved. In one day, he went from prisoner to prime minister. That is how God works, suddenly. You may be in the pit now, but your palace is not far. You may be in the midnight hour, but morning is near. The darkest part of the night is not a sign to give up. It is a signal to hold on. Sometimes, when everything seems to fall apart, it is because God is rearranging the pieces. He allows the light to go out so that you can see Him in a new way. If the electricity of comfort had not gone off, you would never know the light of faith. The night pushes you into dependence on God. It strips away every false source of strength until you realize that your only light is the Lord. Think of Israel at the Red Sea. Behind them, Pharaoh's army. Before them, the sea. Around them, darkness. No way out. But at the darkest hour, when panic filled the camp, God said, "Move forward." The same sea that looked like death became the path of deliverance. Your Red Sea is not your end. It is your entrance. You are about to walk through what others drown in, because God turns midnight into a miracle. When the night grows darker, don't question God's love. Stars shine brightest when the night is blackest. The deeper the night, the clearer the stars. Sometimes you feel abandoned, but heaven is closer than ever. God hides His face not to forsake you, but to build your faith. Faith grows in the absence of evidence. When you can't see His hand, trust His heart. When you can't trace His movement, rest in His promise. Job lost everything: wealth, children, health. His friends accused him. His wife said, "Curse God and die." That was night. But Job said, "Though He slay me, yet will I trust Him." And when the dawn came, he received double for his trouble. If Job had given up in the night, he would never have seen the morning. That is why the devil fights you hardest when you are closest to your dawn. He knows morning is coming. When a woman is about to give birth, the pain intensifies. The contractions become closer, sharper, more unbearable. It feels like death, but it is life about to appear, the pain is proof of birth, not the threat of death. So when your spiritual contractions increase, when problems multiply, when pressure intensifies, don't panic. It is a sign that something is being born in you. The darker the night, the closer the morning. Sometimes God allows darkness so that no man will take credit for your light. If everyone could help you, they would claim the glory. So God waits until every door is shut, every friend is silent, every plan has failed, and then he steps in. That way, when the dawn comes, everyone will know only God could have done it. Your night ensures that your testimony will be pure. Look at Paul and Silas. They were beaten, chained, thrown into prison at midnight. Yet instead of complaining, they prayed and sang hymns. The prisoners listened. Suddenly, the foundation shook, the doors opened, and their chains fell off. That is the power of midnight praise. When you worship in your night, you invite the dawn ahead of time. Praise is the sound that breaks the darkness. When you are in your night, be careful with your words. The tongue can prolong the darkness or call forth the morning. Speak faith, not fear. Declare light, not death. Say, this darkness will not last. My morning is coming. Because what you confess in the night determines what you see in the day. If you complain, you remain. If you praise, you rise. The enemy uses the night to whisper lies. God has forgotten you. You will never make it. You are alone. Don't listen. Remind him of what happened at the cross. Jesus faced his darkest night on Calvary. The sky turned black. The earth shook. Hope seemed gone. But 3 days later, the stone rolled away. If death could not hold Jesus, darkness cannot hold you. When the disciples were grieving, thinking it was over, the dawn of resurrection broke. That is the rhythm of grace. Night, then morning, pain, then joy cross, then crown. The cycle will not end in darkness. If you are in your Good Friday now, your Sunday morning is already scheduled. It is easy to praise God when the sun shines, but true faith is proven when the moon is hidden. In the night, you must walk by memory, not by sight. Remember his promises. Remember his power. Remember his faithfulness. Memory is the light that guides you through the night. When you recall how he made a way before, courage rises again. When you are tempted to quit, picture the traveler walking through the desert. At night, the cold bites, the path disappears, the predators lurk. But if he keeps walking, the horizon will glow. You may be tired, but keep walking. Every step is closer to dawn. The sun does not rise for those who sleep in surrender. It rises for those who endure in faith. Sometimes the night lasts longer than expected. Joseph's night lasted 13 years. Moses' night lasted 40. Abraham's night lasted 25. But every one of them saw morning. God's timing is not your timing. What looks like delay is often divine calibration. He is aligning people, places, and purposes so that your dawn arrives perfectly. Don't despise the night. In the night, roots grow. In the night, strength builds. In the night, dependence deepens. Daytime success is sustained by nighttime growth. Without the dark, you would never appreciate the light. Without the tears, you would never value the joy. The night teaches gratitude. You may not feel like praying, but pray anyway. You may not feel like singing, but sing anyway. You may not feel like standing, but stand anyway, because faith is not a feeling, it is a decision. Every time you choose to trust in the dark, heaven applauds. Every time you refuse to give up, the kingdom advances. When David said, "Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning," he was not reciting poetry. He was speaking revelation. He had wept through betrayal, rejection, and pursuit, but he knew that sorrow has an expiration date. Your weeping is temporary, your joy is eternal. There are moments when you think, this darkness will never end. But even the longest night must bow to the morning. No season lasts forever. Every storm runs out of rain. Every trial has a timeline. The God who created the sun also set the boundary of your night. You may not see the clock of heaven, but it is ticking. The dawn is approaching. You may feel surrounded by enemies, but God uses the night to confuse them. When Gideon fought the Midianites, he attacked at night with torches hidden in jars. When the jars broke, the light scattered, and the enemy fled in confusion. Sometimes your brokenness releases the light that defeats the darkness. Don't curse your breaking. It may be the very thing that births your victory. In your darkest moment, guard your focus. The night magnifies small things. A whisper becomes a roar. A shadow becomes a monster. But when you fix your eyes on Jesus, fear loses its voice. Peter walked on water until he looked at the waves. The moment he shifted his gaze, he sank. The waves were there before. What changed was focus. Keep your eyes on the light, even when the night surrounds you. God never promised that there would be no night, but he promised that the night would not last forever. He never said you would not cry, but he said he would wipe your tears. He never said the road would be easy, but he said he would walk with you. The presence of night does not mean the absence of light. It means light is on the way. When you feel like quitting, remember that you have come too far to stop now. The devil doesn't fight the weak. He fights those who carry purpose. The intensity of your night reveals the size of your dawn. The greater the calling, the greater the testing. The brighter the future, the darker the night before it. So if your night feels unbearable, rejoice. It means your dawn will be glorious. You are not the first to walk through darkness. Generations before you walked the same path and emerged in light. The same God who brought them out is bringing you out. His nature is to turn mourning into dancing, ashes into beauty, despair into praise. Every testimony began with a test. Every resurrection began with a tomb. You cannot stop the sun from rising, no matter how thick the clouds, how long the night. Morning is inevitable. In the same way, no matter what the enemy does, your dawn is inevitable. God's promise cannot be cancelled by your pain. It may be delayed, but it cannot be denied. Even creation speaks this truth. After winter comes spring. After rain, the rainbow. After drought, the harvest. Everything in nature testifies darkness is temporary. The same God who wrote that law in creation wrote it into your destiny. So when the pressure increases, don't interpret it as abandonment. Diamonds are formed in darkness, under pressure, deep beneath the surface. Your night is the forge where your greatness is shaped. One day people will see your light and envy your strength, but they will not know the nights that made you. When you pass through this night, you will not be the same. You will come out wiser, deeper, humbler, stronger. You will know God not by hearsay, but by encounter. The night strips away what is fake until only faith remains. That is the kind of faith that moves mountains. Keep walking even when your steps are heavy. Keep believing even when your mind is weary. Keep expecting even when your heart is trembling. The sun is already rising somewhere. You just haven't seen the light yet. The night cannot cancel the morning. It can only announce it.